fun making videos, eating mutura, and doing things Kenyans like. But for me as a creator as well, I'm like, at the end of the day, what's the purpose of what I'm actually doing? Where can I actually have real impact? And I think what I saw with the Matuma video, I was like, oh wow, I can actually there's millions of people now that are aware of something. If this other video builds awareness on waste, it's probably not going to inspire any change, but I'm at least planting some seed and I'm giving something to people.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, and I think right now I just turned 30. I'm at the age where I'm constantly struggling to look for what is my purpose? Because it's definitely not making money selling tech. That's what I do to survive. It's what I've done to pay the bills. I always get very tired of these jobs because they feel empty.
You just deliver. Yes, you get paid, and I'm always telling people, and sorry to cut you off, but I'll let you don't forget your chain of thought. Because I'm always telling people it'll get to a point where it's not just, okay, people, yes, are obsessed with money, but it'll get to a point, but that's when you're not getting just maybe cash consistently. But it'll get to a point where you're looking for a different purpose. I think maybe a creative or just as men probably we look for a different purpose.
Yeah.
But for me personally, you might write me a big check, but if it doesn't serve me any purpose, I know after a while, it just won't make it will be of no use.
It's true. And I think it's hard to tell people that are struggling to make ends meet month after month and don't have any, especially people here where there's not jobs.
Yeah.
It's money is everything. Business is everything. If I tell them about doing TikTok, they're like, well, how's the business? I'm like, this isn't a business. This is a passion project that could be a business. And I could see the face of Kenyans just being confused.
What are you saying?
But it's if you've worked, I've now worked years where when I do work, I get a consistent base paycheck. I can sell a lot of software, so I get good commissions. Once you're comfortable in that for a while and I have a bit of savings, I'm the least happy I ever am. I'm like, what am I doing? I just wake up every morning and I'm doing a job that's meaningless for me for a paycheck. There's no bigger purpose here. And I start craving, how can I do something else? And I think once you feel comfort, there's been studies to show, obviously the figures change, but studies have shown that people, once they reach over 100,000 or a certain level of income in the United States, the amount of happiness you get from dollar earned starts plummeting. It's a diminishing return. So I don't think money is the thing. And it's always been weird. I think a lot of my bosses and CEOs, as trying to manage me as a salesperson, most salespeople are super motivated by money. And I'm not.
Just money driven. It's like, I need my commission. I need my commission. Yeah.
I'm not that way at all. So you have I need to fill a bigger purpose, need this. And that is what drives me to make videos because it's creative. And then now that I'm making these videos, I feel like I'm being pulled more into how do you make videos that are more meaningful, that are spreading awareness, that could actually impact people's lives and not just entertain. There's nothing wrong with it. And I think that's what we do as content creators. A lot of it is entertaining people, but there's more to it.
And even just by you saying that, I think I can also just piggyback on that. It's I think I'm always trying to explain to people, a lot of people, when we're having even conversations, be like, I want a big house. It's like, okay, that's cool. Let's assume you have the big house that you want. Somebody gives you the biggest house that you want today, maybe 12 bedroom and everything. Nice view of Nairobi and everything. It's like, okay, what else would you want? I would want 6 cars. Be like, okay, let's assume you have those 6 cars. You just think about if that's the one thing that would make you happy, you'd wake up in a big ass house, 12 bedroom, 6 cars, and you're waking up to that every single day. Are you telling you have to be like a fucking psychopath by the end of the year to still be happy? Waking up in the morning, it's boring. There is no purpose, no fulfillment in any way because it's just an object.
I was lucky too.
That's it.
For where I grew up in, oftentimes my family is financially struggling. So money was always an issue, and I think that helped raise me to appreciate it, but I still grew up in the United States.
Yeah.
My dad lives in an area outside of Los Angeles. He has a nice house, like a really cool house, nice property. At one point, he was spending way too much money on a BMW. My car broke down. He let me borrow it for a week. And it was, I had enough privilege to grow up to realize, for me, if I spend every day in this house, it starts to feel like a jail because I want a community. I want somewhere to go out.
Yeah.
I don't just want to sit there. So I learned, like, yes, it's like cool to have this. I think it's a good goal, but that's not the end. And then driving the BMW was super fun for 2 or 3 days, especially showing off to everybody.
And that's it.
And then it felt the exact same as my Honda.
Yeah,
And I remember realizing, I was like, I'm never gonna own an expensive car. You should own a very practical car, and then you should just rent a Ferrari when you want to go
when you
drive
want
fast.
the adrenaline or something, but don't expect it to make you that happy. Like, I think some people, like, just because of lacking, you think if you get it, it's just going to make you extremely happy every single day. Once you drive it, that's it. That's it. It's done. In fact, you'd rather just go to the car dealer and just do the test drive and go back home, drive your car.
And I think it's a problem with, like, society, capitalism, where people flex it to try to give status. But I feel like you have to willfully ignore every single celebrity and rich person who almost every single one of them says, this doesn't make me happy. There's sometimes the richest people are sometimes the most miserable. One thing I've just through traveling, I've now been to 30 countries. Yeah. One thing I've noticed, and it's a big thing I think growing up in the suburbs in the US, is the richer people become, the more isolated they become.
Yeah.
You look at it where, like, people in Kibera and the slum, it's an incredibly hard life, but that's like some of the most amazing community I've been around. They have
Everybody
friends,
shaking
family.
hands, smiling,
They're outside. The people aren't just sitting in their house watching TV. They're out. They have it. And I've seen through societies as people get richer and richer and richer, they get their compound, they put a giant wall up, they go home, they sit maybe with their family, and if they're lucky to have that, at some point maybe they get older, the kids move out, and I just saw where I'm like, the consequence of wealth is isolation.
It's the worst. Can you imagine? Like, and I'll let you finish that as well. I'm sorry again.
No.
Because the thing is,
can you imagine? Forever, so
can you imagine? Like, you have a big ass compound, and that's the thing that people never even realize. And that's why, like, I always tell people, like, I always want to see kind of my neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, I'd prefer to peep outside the balcony. You can see someone. You can see some kids out there, and like I do my daily runs every single day. But I cannot imagine living around a property where, like, it's just okay. It might sound good for vacation, but it's just grass. Let's say I'm married and I have kids, and then once the kids go to college, it's me and wifey alone. Maybe she needs to travel. I'm all alone in that house and compound. Hell no.
Yep.
Hell no. I won't be. I
That's
won't be
it's
okay.
like a golden prison.
yeah. Like, you have everything. You have your nice supercars in the compound.
Yeah.
You have the big house that you wanted. And that's why I think, like, just your whole sense of purpose has to be something else, something bigger. If you have an organization that you wake up in the morning, go maybe mentor, like, youths.
Yeah.
If you have, like, your youth as a creator now, that's where, like, even content creation, best thing ever. Because even I always tell people that for me, I'm not making money through my podcast, but I really love just doing episodes with different people who are coming here, telling me about their experiences. I learn and network from them. And now knowing that, like, I've known them, like, even in person, like, the next time I want to ask them about something or travel somewhere, be like, yo, you talked about traveling to this country. How's the experience? People here are going to try to rip me off. What's the exchange rate? All those things. Like, you learn so much through podcasting and networking. For me, it's really, really fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying. But like you've said, more wealth, more isolation. And it's just kind of something that you have to pick and choose, like, where you want to be. But, to each his own, though. But yeah, you can continue, like, if you want to touch on that.
On top of that, like, I think it's part of why I started making videos again. I was traveling whenever I could be in between jobs, and I had some savings, or maybe the company sold and I got, like, at least a few $1,000s, and I'm like, okay, I can stretch this for a few months and go see a new country. One thing I noticed with traveling is, it's everyone's dream, but then when you're traveling for a while, it actually ends up getting quite boring.
Really?
Yeah. because
Or
it's
solo traveling.
like solo traveling. But even if you go with friends, then you're gonna want to like kill each other after a month.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have two friends I can travel with.
That's
even
true.
even when we travel for months at a time, we usually have breaks from each other. Where you go there, I go here. We'll meet when we feel like it. But and I found that like as part of also why I wanted to come back to make videos here is like I want to come back to Kenya, and making TikToks, especially now that people are watching them, is opening so many doors where I'm experiencing things I never would experience before.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and I'm not thinking about what site am I going to go see. I'm like, what story am I going to tell today? What video can I work on? What comment was interesting? Should I DM them and see if they want to work with me? And I find it's the same idea. Even travel is an ideal of everyone, but it's the same thing as like getting a nice house or getting a car. At some point, it kind of becomes something you're just consuming that loses meaning. In an extended period of time. So you have to find a way to make it meaningful.
Were you making content when you're going through the other countries?
Not really. I didn't make content.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why. Now that I'm making content, I could if I just had money coming in every month from some business or something, I would just keep doing this for a while, just making videos, finding interesting stories, finding ways to make an impact, and I would be perfectly happy. If I had that same money, but I didn't have videos and I was just wandering, I would get bored. And I've seen this with digital nomads. I've seen this with older people that do really well in business that I've met, have a lot of cash, invest it, they're financially set. And every single one of them, after 2 years of wandering, I find them always starting to settle in a place and either getting back to work because they're bored or starting an organization.
True.
Because we need purpose. It's like we're wired for it. We come from we come from tribes in the in the desert surviving.
I think for my case, I did my first Euro trip like a few months ago, and we did probably like 10 or 12 countries. Oof. I mean, we even ended up in Ibiza. So I was just like, you know what, this is nice, but the experience wouldn't have been as fun if it wasn't like a group thing, because we went like a group of almost like 35, 40 people or even more.
That's good size.
Yeah, so like, even the tourist places, like, if you're trying to figure out directions, you'd rather wander, get lost, try and figure it out, get drunk here, you have somebody looking out for you, introducing you to new meals, shopping experiences. But I can only just flip that and think of how I'd have done 12 countries alone. No.
And how long were you traveling for?
We did 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
And the whole of Europe.
That's a whirlwind. That's like a rock star tour.
No, it was real. And we did the Euro trip. Once we landed there, we just got a bus. Yeah. And we were just going around with a bus. Okay. So one town to the next in France, from one city to the next one. And it was like, just like you said, it was just like a rock star tour. Yeah. Once we got to Amsterdam, of course, the whole excitement's like, what? People can just smoke weed here. It's being sold like everything is so new, but you get to experience it with someone. Because now you can take pictures of each other, you can tell stories. And I made so much content. I kept on deleting like old videos on my phone. My memory cards are full. But to me, I felt so happy because now I have Euro trip videos that I can keep posting stories about and create more content, do narrations that I think I can spread them out till March, maybe next year when I'm traveling somewhere else. Yeah. But the experience, like you said, traveling alone, you have to be also like a really strong person. Let's just say that. Yeah. Because it's not as much fun if it's just going, sipping your mimosas on the hotel, posting one Instagram picture. I wouldn't be happy, honestly. Yeah. No, it won't work for me.